Glacier National Park, located in northern Montana, is flush with grizzly bears, mountain goats, wildflower meadows, and rushing rivers. But its namesake glaciers have always been the centerpiece of one of the National Park Service's best-known parks.
The park spans over 1 million acres and is home to thousands of unique species of wildlife. Before Glacier was a national park, Native American tribes used the area for hunting, gathering, and ceremonies. The Blackfoot tribe populated the eastern area of Glacier. White trappers began to explore the area in the 1700s. By the mid-1800s, the area had been explored by European settlers. The settlers began to build homesteads. The Blackfoot tribe were slowly moved off their land and onto reservations. The major actor in Glacier's establishment was George Bird Grinnell, editor of Forest and Stream magazine. He helped to gather support from the public to make Glacier a national park. He first visited the park in 1885 and returned in 1887 to explore the area and name many of the landmarks. He wrote articles about the area that created public interest and ultimately made the establishment of the park possible. As a result of Grinnell's efforts, President Taft signed the bill establishing Glacier as the U.S.'s 10th national park. The park was singled out because of the unique diversity of landscapes and the already realized tourism potential. The park was officially established in 1910, 6 years before the establishment of the National Park Service in 1916.
The process of establishing Glacier as a national park was not contested by settlers. It just took some time for people to become aware and interested in the area, because many had never seen Glacier for themselves. Many homesteaders that had land within the park boundaries when it was established became park rangers, and those buildings are now historical sites. Native tribes were slowly moved out from the area onto reservations. The 1.5 million acre Blackfoot Reservation shares Glacier's eastern border.
Glacier falls under the IUCN Category 2, National Park. The IUCN defines a national park as a large natural area set aside to protect large-scale ecological processes.
Glacier National Park is experiencing several direct threats, including destruction of essential ecosystems, human overuse, loss of wildlife, wildfires resulting from extended high-risk fire seasons, invasive species such as pine beetles and non-native fish, and ice melt.
Glacial ice melt is a result of the underlying cause of increasing climate change.
Of the park's 150 glaciers that existed in the late 1800s, only 25 of them remain today.
The melting of the glaciers have several impacts. Mountain snowpacks hold less water and have begun to melt at least 2 weeks earlier in the spring. This impacts the regional water supply, wildlife, agriculture, and fire management.
Loss of alpine meadows will put some high elevation species at risk as habitats become greatly diminished or eliminated.
Mountain pine beetle infestations will likely spread further, causing areas of forest to die, which will impact wildlife and stream habitat, wildfire risk, and recreational use.
Fire frequency and burn area may be increased as fire season expands with earlier snowpack meltout and increasing number of hot days.
Large fires may greatly impact regional air quality, increase risk to people and property, and negatively affect tourism. Several management principles apply to help reduce these impacts. The first management principle is to intervene so that the impacts of human-caused threatening processes are reduced. Glacier National Park is working to limit human environmental impact. For example, they are implementing a free bus system into and throughout the park.
The second management principle is the immediate, decisive intervention to deal with some threats that may save significant future costs. The park is trying to save future costs by limiting ecosystem disruption. They're doing this by relocating bull trout to cooler, higher elevations to help the native population survive.
The last management principle is effective community education to help reduce threats to protected areas. The park is actively trying to educate the community by putting out photos of the park's glaciers in the 1800s versus the glaciers of today. This helps others to understand what climate change is doing to one of the country's most beloved landscapes.
Most plans are still being implemented, however, there isn't much the park can do. Even if humans were to stop emitting carbon dioxide today, there is enough warming already in the climate system to melt virtually all of the glaciers within the park. The remaining glaciers in the park are likely to be gone by 2030.
Even with no glaciers, the park will still be a spectacular place, but there's no denying that it'll lose a big part of what makes it special. If the glaciers serve as a reminder of the forces that have shaped the planet, their loss is a testament to how humans have changed it and the choices we have to make to protect what's left.